Good morning and welcome to this week's What I Eat in a Day on WW. I'm about to make some breakfast because I'm hungry. It is 7:40 in the morning. I've already had an entire 20-ounce glass of water. I always like to drink my coffee and then at least a glass of water before I start with breakfast. So I'm gonna make some breakfast, but I wanted to welcome you to today's What I Eat in a Day. If you're excited to see all the good stuff that I eat today, give this video a big, huge thumbs up. It really helps out my channel, and of course I appreciate it. And if you're watching and you haven't yet subscribed, I hope that you consider subscribing, as I would love to have you join my community. Check out that description box down below for everything I share with you today. You'll also find my 2022 So for my breakfast, I shared this in my grocery haul. I picked this up at Trader Joe's. This is a holiday vegetable hash. So it has butternut squash, sweet potato, red onion, celery, parsley, sage, and rosemary. And it is 45 calories for half of a cup, which is literally nothing. All that's in here is butternut squash, sweet potato, red onion, celery, parsley, and sage. So if you have potatoes as 0 points, this would be 0 points for you. I do have potatoes as 0 points, so this is going to be 0 points in my breakfast. And what I'm going to do is cook this up, and then I'm going to take a serving out of the hash, mix in some eggs and make kind of a scrambled egg hash. And then I'm also going to add one of the Sam's Choice chicken apple sausages. You guys know I love these. These are so incredibly delicious. They are 100 calories. They have perfect ingredients. They are 3 points now when they used to be 2. I have no idea why, but they are 3 points now, which is still an incredible deal because these are very large sausages, and we'll just add in that little extra bit of protein in my breakfast, and then I'm going to pair it with some raspberries. So the little hash here is done. So what I'm going to do is remove all of it but one serving from the pan, put it in a storage container, and then I decided that I'm going to just put the hash on my plate and eat it separately, and then we'll add the sausage and the eggs to the same skillet. So I have my chicken's apple sausage all cut up. I'm gonna go ahead and add that to the skillet, let it brown a little bit before I pop in my eggs. So here is my breakfast for today. This looks incredible. I have some of that sweet potato squash hash that is 0 points. I have raspberries for 0 points. And then for eggs, I did 1 full egg and 2 egg whites, which for me is also 0 points. And then I did one of the Sam's Choice chicken apple sausages for 3 points. And of course, I'm working on my second cup of water, but my entire breakfast is only 3 points. We have vegetables, fruit, lots of protein. I cannot wait to dig into this. It looks so good, and the colors on my plate are so pretty. Okay, first taste test, first impression of that hash. That is really good. I taste all the good flavors, the onion, the herbs, the sweet potato. It is delicious. 10 out of 10. If you can grab it at Trader Joe's, highly recommend.
So everyone, you just woke up from a very long nap. Are you still tired? Huh, buddy? Oh, you're still a little tired? To go back and go night-night.
Cecil is outside. You guys, he sleeps out here when it's 20 degrees overnight. He just loves to be outside. Do you want out, buddy? Come here. Say go potty, buddy. Go say go potty. Oh, it's cold. He's like, no thank you. It is cold.
You okay out here, bud?
You're happy out in the cold, aren't you? Tommy, go potty, come back in, okay? It's cold.
Are you gonna get up today? See, I got my nails cut yesterday and I'm so pretty.
Hi, honey. Look at that big smile on her face. Are you gonna get up today? It's cold. It's not worth it. Oh, hi, Palmer. Oh, hi. It's my morning snack time, and as suspected, I am not hungry. So I am going to sip on my kombucha. This is just really great for probiotics and good gut health. Luckily, this went down in points. This used to be 3 points a bottle. Now it's only 2 points a bottle, but I still count it as 1. This particular one is only 60 calories. I really like the GT's brand. This is probably the cleanest, most authentic kombucha. Some of the other brands that I like are a little more like sparkling juice. This is definitely authentic kombucha, but I really like it. This is the Guava Goddess, so this is going to be my morning snack. It is 9:50 in the morning, so I'll be eating lunch here in the next hour or two, so I don't really need any food, but I do need kombucha. I know that a lot of you have been asking, a lot of you have been messaging me, DMing me, tagging me over on my Facebook group for updates on my health. And you guys are so sweet and remember that I actually had my blood work done on December 2nd. So as of December 3rd, I had the results of that blood work and we have officially put a plan of action into place. So I wanted to sit down in front of my Christmas tree just for a pretty background and share with you guys all of the updates, kind of what to expect moving forward here on my channel, as well as the recipes and things that I'm sharing and what I eat in a day. There's a lot changing. There is a lot that is going to be changing with me on a day-to-day basis over the course of weeks, months, years. There's some medically necessary changes that need to happen. And then there are some changes that I'm choosing to make for myself, which will in turn benefit my overall health. So on December 2nd, I had an entire full panel of blood work done, over 10 vials of blood to literally test anything and everything from my copper levels, iron levels, how my thyroid is functioning, cholesterol, blood pressure, you name it. All these tests were ran on December 2nd. All of these vials of blood were taken to determine kind of where my levels are as I'm aging. I mentioned in a previous video that the last time I had a full panel of blood work was when I turned 40. Well, I'm officially 46 now. So it's been 6 years since I've had a full panel of blood work. So I was due anyways, not to mention just the concerns that I was having with my health. I had some concerns about my thyroid, about my blood pressure, and just about my body in general, and just feelings that I was having with my body that weren't feelings that I was used to having. So I had this whole blood work panel done, and some very interesting things came out of this blood work that literally is going to change my entire life. So during the course of this testing, number one, I found out that my blood pressure is a bit elevated. Not elevated enough to warrant medication, but elevated enough to cause a little bit of concern, as well as elevated enough to make some dietary changes. It appeared that my body was very inflamed, that I had a high amount of inflammation. And if you follow my channel, you may have remembered me mentioning when I switched over to the cleaner foods and trying to eat a little bit healthier, that I was avoiding carrageenan in foods because it's an inflammatory. Well, I've done really good avoiding carrageenan, hoping that that may help with inflammation, but for some reason, my body just has some inflammation. I figured that I did because my body would hurt, my joints would hurt. Even when I wasn't working out, if I just did a little bit of extra movement or activity, I would have some inflammation and some pain in my knees and my joints and my back. Well, come to find out, I had quite a bit of overall inflammation in my body. But the main thing, as suspected, that the blood work showed is that my thyroid is not functioning very well at all. It is probably one of the worst cases of an underactive thyroid that my doctor has seen, which makes sense as to why my weight loss has been very slow, no matter what I'm doing when it comes to calories and the foods that I'm choosing. Also, the fact that I'm tired and fatigued all the time is a huge symptom of an underactive thyroid. So because my thyroid is not functioning at its needed capacity, it's far, far under that, thyroid medication is an absolute must. I have to go on thyroid medication to get the levels in my thyroid functioning a little bit more properly. But I was nervous about starting on a thyroid medication with elevated blood pressure as well as a lot of inflammation. So what we decided is that we're going to make changes slowly. The first change that I'm going to make is to change the foods that I'm eating, which should help with the blood pressure and should help with the inflammation. I switched over to a cleaner approach to WW and more more clean foods in general over a year ago, but I'm really going to be tightening the reins on the foods that I'm eating. Processed foods, it causes inflammation, and I think that that's where this inflammation is coming from. We think, my doctor and I think, that this inflammation is coming from a lot of processed foods, as well as any artificial sweeteners. So I really need to limit, if not eliminate, processed foods from my diet. Now we know that if there's over one ingredient in a food, it's considered processed. So obviously I'm not going to be able to eliminate processed foods. For example, I love cottage cheese. It's a great way for me to get in protein and calcium, but technically it's a processed food. When I'm talking about processed foods that are causing inflammation for me, I'm talking more about chips, cakes, candies, those types of things. Those need to be completely eliminated from my diet, and the majority of my diet, at least 80%, if not more, needs to be whole, real, or very minimally processed foods. My bread choices, tortilla choices need to switch over to something much less processed. I really need to do my best to get this inflammation under control. I just know that I'm going to feel better every single day when this inflammation is a little bit more under control, and that should also help with my blood pressure, meaning I don't have to take medication, and I do not want to take blood pressure medication. So whatever I have to do to stop that from happening, I'm going to do whatever I need to do. So I'm immediately changing my diet to a more restricted, more whole food based diet. And then we're going to see how that goes for a couple of weeks. See how my inflammation is, see how I'm feeling. I will have my blood pressure taken again, and then I will be prescribed my thyroid medication. So it looks like my thyroid medication will be prescribed before the end of December. It is introduced into my body and working at its full capacity come the beginning of 2022. And with getting my thyroid under control, and with having already have established a much healthier diet, more whole food based diet, less inflammatory based diet, the weight should start to come off pretty steadily in the month of January. I should feel better overall. I shouldn't be as tired and fatigued. I mean, I'm tired right now and I've been up for maybe 3 hours. So I'm finding myself wanting to or taking quite a few naps during the day, which is not like me at all. I knew something wasn't right, and come to find out, I was correct. So again, my blood pressure is a bit elevated, I'm inflamed, and my thyroid is not functioning at its capacity or even near its recommended capacity. So I'm making some changes now. So how that's going to affect what I'm sharing here on my channel is not a whole lot. You're going to see the types of foods that I'm choosing to eat. In my What I Eat in a Days, I'm really going to be focusing on whole, real food and foods that don't cause inflammation. So you'll see those types of foods in my What I Eat in a Days. And as far as my recipes go, another thing that I need to really pay attention to is how many carbohydrates I'm eating every day. Now, I don't have to go on a low carb diet or keto or a no carb diet. I don't have to do any of that. I just need to be mindful of how many carbohydrates I'm eating every day and what source those carbohydrates are coming from. So like I said, changing to whole grain bread or sprouted bread from white bread is a better choice in the form of carbohydrates for me. So just making better carbohydrate choices and just making sure that my meals are more based around high fiber and high protein, that should help with the inflammation, the blood pressure, and the overall function of my thyroid. Editing Jen here. I forgot to mention in my little sit down chit chat with you guys about my blood work and kind of moving forward, I also need to focus on lower fat. That includes low-fat dairy, which is a little bit of a bummer because you guys know that I really like my full-fat dairy. I can still have it, just not as much of it. I can still have healthy fat, so nut butters, avocados, just saturated fat needs to be limited. Also sugar, and I can't remember if I mentioned this or not, but even though I'm not a big proponent of sugar-free type of things, there will be some sugar-free things I'm going to have to implement because I have to be really mindful of sugar, because sugar can cause blood spikes. It can be a leading cause for me for inflammation. So sugar has to be restricted as well. I always say I'm not a medication person because I'm not. I literally take zero medication. I take a hair, skin, and nail gummy vitamin, a daily gummy vitamin, and then I always put collagen in my coffee, but other than that, I don't take medication. So this is a big change for me. The fact that I'm going to have to take this medication for the rest of my life is a big change. But whatever I have to do to feel better overall and to live a much healthier, happier life, I really need to get the rest of this weight off so that I feel healthier. I can move around a little bit more and I just feel back to my normal self before I had all this extra weight on my body and before these medical issues started arriving. I will be sharing with you guys updates as I go throughout the process. And like I said, you'll see a lot of the foods and things on my channel changing into a more whole, real food approach and a less processed food approach, mainly because it's for my health, but also because those are the types of foods that make me feel better when I focus my diet around those. I have some lofty goals going into the next year, and I know that this medication making my thyroid function normally is really going to help me reach my goals. So I'll be sharing my whole goal video with you guys this month, so stay tuned for that. But I thought I would sit down and give you an update. Sorry if it was a long update, but I wanted to make sure that I filled you in on everything that I found out. And thank you guys again for reaching out and checking in on me. It really means a lot to me. And honestly, I'm excited about this. I'm excited about these dietary changes and these lifestyle changes so that I can feel more like myself, which is really what's most important. So I'm putting my little crab melt under the broiler for just a couple of minutes. I actually got this recipe from one of my subscribers who commented on my grocery haul where I hauled the crab, and I had this for lunch the other day. It's so good. It's so good and so filling. I'm really excited to have this again. So under the broiler, it goes for just a couple of minutes.
And we were just able to walk and catch up. We haven't really seen each other a lot during COVID, so it was just really nice to spend time.
So here is my lunch for today. Doesn't this look absolutely incredible? Look at these crab melts. I mean, just look at those. Super excited. And then of course I just paired it with some carrots. I will go ahead and put my points in calories here on the screen. I'm also having a peppermint watermelon Ouroboros water. You can buy these off of the Thrive Market. As always, the Thrive is in the description box with a discount off your first order and a free gift. I love this sparkling water. It's so good. So that is my lunch for today.
What did you do? What is all this? Did you bring in more sticks and dirt from outside? Yeah, you did. Buddy, that goes outside. That's an outside toy. That is an outside toy only, bud.
I'm about to go on a Zoom call with my challenge group over on Facebook here in about, half an hour. It's 2:30. So I am going to sip on the Alani Nu cookies and cream protein shake. I did buy a few of these to test them out. They're pretty good. Now, they don't have the best ingredients, but they're pretty good. They taste really good in coffee as well, so that's a good way to have a Profi or a protein coffee. 20 grams of protein, and again, it's the cookies and cream. So this is going to be my snack prior to my Zoom call. For dinner tonight, I'm making sweet and spicy turkey lettuce wraps minus the spicy. I will share with you one ingredient that we are omitting in tonight's dinner, but of course I will link it on my website as well as through the recipe through the WW app. So let me show you what's in tonight's dinner. First, you're going to need honey, soy sauce, nut butter. I'm using peanut butter, but you can really use any nut butter. In fact, they say that cashew butter is the best for this recipe. Rice wine vinegar, big lettuce leaves. I really like butter lettuce. I think that it makes the best lettuce wrap type of lettuce. You'll need a can of water chestnuts, shredded carrots, 99% extra lean ground turkey, minced garlic, fresh ginger, an onion, and a red bell pepper. So the first thing I'm going to do is chop my bell pepper, chop up my onion. We do need to dice up the water chestnuts, and then I'm going to remove the largest of the butter lettuce leaves and rinse them. Now we're gonna put together the sauce before we start actually cooking the meat down for the lettuce wraps. So go ahead and grab out just a regular size cereal bowl. We're going to add 2 teaspoons of fresh ground ginger, 2 2 cloves of minced garlic. So I just usually do a decent sized spoonful. 2 tablespoons of nut butter. 1 tablespoon of honey. 2 tablespoons of soy sauce or coconut aminos. And 1 teaspoon of rice vinegar. We're going to stir that up really well. That's going to be the sauce. This looks so good with the garlic and the nut butter. You can smell that kind of salty sweet. The original recipe wants you to add 2 teaspoons or more, adjusted to your taste, of sriracha. So like I said, I'm skipping the spicy part and I'm just going to go with the more savory sweet part. So there is the sauce. So I sprayed a large skillet with some nonstick cooking spray. You're going to want a pretty good sized skillet. I'm going to add my pound of 99% lean ground turkey. And we're going to let this cook on a higher heat until it's crispy. We actually want the meat to get browned and crispy. While the meat is cooking, I'm going to start some rice for Troy. I don't think he's going to be entirely happy with just lettuce cups, so I'm using my little Dash rice maker. This thing is amazing. I think I got this on Amazon. If I did, I'll make sure I link it down below for you. You literally throw the rice and the water in, and then it cooks it automatically, and it comes out perfect every single time. Once your turkey is nice and browned and crispy, we're going to add in all of our vegetables. So I have a cup of shredded carrots, my chopped up water chestnuts, my onion, my red bell pepper, and we're going to allow those to cook for about 4 or 5 minutes with the ground turkey or until softened. Once your veggies are softened, we're going to add in the sauce. Go ahead and turn off your heat and mix your sauce in really well with your ground turkey and your veggies. This smells absolutely incredible. I'm going to set this aside and we're going to make a sauce to just drizzle over the lettuce cups with kind of the same ingredients as the sauce we just added. So for the sauce for topping the lettuce wraps, I'm going to start with 3 tablespoons of the soy sauce or coconut aminos, 1 teaspoon of honey, and 1 tablespoon of your nut butter. And then we're just going to mix that together really well, and then we can top our lettuce wraps, or you could even drizzle this over your rice if you're having rice with your lettuce wraps, but this is just going to really bring out those flavors that we were going for in the meat. So here is my dinner for tonight. That entire pan of the turkey mixture only makes 4 servings. I didn't even use a 4th of it between the 4 lettuce leaves. I may have some extra of the meat mixture if I'm still hungry. I'll put here on the screen if I did. I'm still going to count this as the full points, even though I didn't quite have a quarter of the pan. It is 5 points for this dinner. That is it. Again, you could pair this with some rice if you would like. Just make sure that you count for the points. But this looks incredible and I cannot wait to dig in.
Who is it? Yay! It's Daddy! Come on, guys. I know, Daddy will get you a treat. You need to be patient. We're not the most patient dogs in the world.
Tonight's dessert, we're keeping it pretty healthy. I am full from my dinner. Those lettuce wraps, you guys, are so delicious. Highly recommend that recipe. Speaking of delicious, I love these Chobani less sugar Greek yogurt Monterey strawberry, one of my very favorite flavors. This is a good way to finish my protein out for the day. I am a little bit short on protein, and this actually has 12 grams in it. That will put me right where I need to be, and it is 4 points, and it is sweet, it's creamy, so excited. So